Now, going forward with this Black Stars team, who stays behind for the Qatar 2022 qualifiers? Who leaves this team, and who are the potential prospects that we should be looking at bringing in?
I think that one of the major things that some of us have always called for is a proper selection criteria. You see, because, for example, if you have a criteria that says that if you are a player and you want to play for the national team, you play in the league, you should have played a minimum of 30 matches in order to gain qualification to even be considered for selection into the national team. If you have a clear selection criteria, we can all measure the coach on the basis of that. Because I give you an example. In 2017, I don't even know how to put it, but in what sense did it make for Bernard Tekpete to have an edge over Raphael Dramina in that season? It didn't make sense. But we took him.
But when it made sense for Tekpete to go to this AFCON, he didn't, because he was Ghana's highest scoring player in Europe.
My question, again, on what basis was John Entry not part of this team? That's a very important question to find out. You understand? So I think that going forward, and we have called for this so many times, when the coaches take over and you ask them, oh, you must play regularly for your club. Oh, Abraham Grant said that you must
I will not feature any bench warmers.
I will not feature any bench warmers. You must show passion, desire, those things. Then they give us their own set of criteria. I think that going forward, we must have a proper criteria by the FA. Proper criteria that makes sense to everybody.
That one by the FA.
It's very important because
by the transition, not by the FA.
No, listen,
what are you talking about?
Listen.
Let's not go back to this transition.
I'm just taking you by its own way. Criteria by the FA.
Is
the FA the coach now? So I also I agree with you. I agree with what you are saying.
If you take me back to the transition,
I agree with what you are saying.
I would be forced to come back and say that if I'm an FA and I qualify for under 20, a group of players, we go and play the tournament. Does the FA have to force the national team coach to select them?
No,
like we have the badge. You see,
let's one person make a point.
We have a waiting badge in 2013. Don't we have some of them?
We do.
We have a waiting badge in 2015. Alfred Anka hasn't he been called to the national team?
He has.
Which badge was he part of? The 2013 squad, Abi. Did Kwesi Nyantakyi tell, or did Kofi Amah tell what do you call it? Kwesi Appiah to call him? So it is up to the coach, because we have played in whether we play in the World Cup, we qualify for the World Cup, or we don't qualify. There is a group of players, a pool of players that have been selected. How is it that at the under 23, when we were selecting, we were able to find Yahweh? Hasn't he been called into our national team before?
He has.
So I mean, what are we talking about? It's the decision of the coach, the final decision, the decision to take a player for a national team is not the sole responsibility of the FA. They can't impose players on you.
Nobody have said
they can't impose. So I'm saying that Kwesi Appiah had the benefit of the 2013 under 20. Are they not available?
They were.
The 2015 under 20. Are they not available? 2017 under 20. Are they not available? Why should this group of players, is it the FA's decision to say that take them? Because the players are the FA's responsibility is to appoint an under 20 coach, make sure that you have a team available, and it is up to the national team coach to say, okay, it is now time for these players to come.
Let's cut to the chase. We don't have a lot of time, but
you see,
who leaves this national team and who stays?
I think that obviously, I mean, somebody like Asamoah Gyan, he's giving us a hint that obviously he would. I going forward, I don't think that for me, I think honestly that
he's run his race with the national team.
Yeah, I think he's done enough. He's paid his dues for the national team from 2007 till now. He's been playing the Black Stars, and I think that he's paid his dues to the national team. Jonathan Mensah has come through from 2009 to 2010, basically. John Boy Dems have been part of the 2012, till now. I think that it's time to phase them out. And for me, the key thing will be we have a batch of players who are waiting, right? The under 23 team that Tanko is working with. These are players who are waiting. There is the under 20 teams in 2013, 2015, 2017. These are players who are waiting to want to make their case. The likes of Dauda Mohammed and all those. I don't want to mention it, but we know these teams. Osabute, all those players. I mean, and let's manage. I mean, let's get a coach who is ready to take bold. You see, the problem with Kwesi Appiah was that he was not ready to take bold decisions. He was not ready to take radical decisions. We described him. I described him as a conservative coach. He wasn't ready to rock the boat. That is the problem. It is not transitional or anything. The problem was that the coach lacked that balls to take big, bold decisions. That's what it is.
He must be fired. Players who need to be phased out have been listed out by you there. Jesse there with the fire. Coach, talk to me about the players that should leave the team and players that should also stay, and those that are not currently part of the pool that we could possibly look at bringing in.
Look, it's very simple. When you say that the transition should be by the FA.
Why did I think we're going back here?
No. I'll come back.
The two of you are the most stubborn panelists I have ever met in my life.
I am answering the question.
You see,
the transition has to be an FA policy. And when I say the transition has to be an FA, I'm not saying the FA should compel the coach to select every player that falls within the transition. But if there is a transition, you look within the pool of players that are to be transited. Those who are playing active and regular football comes back to the criteria, automatically should be in the national team. Because I don't think there's any best criteria to use to select your team than players who are playing active football. There's nothing else apart from that. Maybe the next thing you'll be looking at, apart from the fact that the player is playing actively, how committed is he to the national team? Yeah. Once you can sort that out within the transition, then surely you go there. So the criteria and the transition, they go hand in hand. And I believe that it is the FA that drives such a policy. Back to your question, there is absolutely no way that Asamoah can be part of the Black Stars again going forward. After 17 years, goodness me, for heaven's sake, he himself should look at himself in the mirror and say, look, I have served this country.
Yeah.
And we love him. Me. He and myself, we went to the same school. Yeah, nobody loves him better than me. Nobody loves him better than me. I love him, but
so you are doing a blue agenda.
You see, I love him so much that I have defended him. But when the time is due, it's due. Andre Morgan, are you? No more. Nobody should even look. He was given the captain to go and captain the team.
Yeah.
The next qualifiers, there should be a new captain because he's done. He's finished.
That would be such a short stint as captain.
Of course. At the end of the day, he goes into records book as one of the captain of the Black Stars.
And his teammates will call him Capito.
Yes, it's as simple as that. 3, John Boy. He serves his due. As for John Boy, he's lost about 6 yards of good pace as a centre back. He has to go. Jonathan Mensah, he has to go. And then when you look at the crop of players we have, this team practically looks very, very young, with the exception of these guys. Maybe Wakaso will have to be out because he's still shown that he's got the bite, he's got the appetite to go on. Then you bring in players like Bernard Mensah, who plays good football in what? In Turkey. Yeah. Players like Alfred Duncan should come and command regular position because they are playing in the top leagues in Europe. Yeah. You don't give such a player 4 minutes, 6 minutes to come and prove his no. It's not done. And then Prof talks about
coaching.
What happens to Kojo Asamoah though? Nobody's mentioned Kojo Asamoah.
I think he should be part of our team.
Is it time to walk away from him?
No, not at all.
I think for Kojo, it is not time for him to walk out because of the level at which he finds himself. Of all the old guys, he's the one playing the most active football, isn't it? He's playing for Inter Milan. Okay, and he plays regular football. So it is time to say, okay, now Kojo, you take over that band permanently and show a bit more. Kojo's problem has been commitment. If we can get him to commit, he will be a perfect leader to lead the rest of the to lead us into the next.
Let's take a short break.